I'm going to read what I said yesterday because we spent a lot of time on this yesterday. There are many people who go after the Minhagim. And they don't have a rabbi to guide them. They don't have a rabbi who tells them which minhag yes to follow, which minhag not to follow. It's very easy for them to violate actual prohibitions. And he gave an example of when he was in Mexico City, and he saw these Jews that were carrying on Shabbat. He said, what do you guys carry on Shabbat? There's no Eruv here. So, in Syria we carried on Shabbat, so here we carry on Shabbat too. In Syria you had an Eruv, here you didn't. Unfortunately, the leadership in Torah is so lacking that people don't have rabbis who will tell them, no, that's not okay to do something. It's always, better to be more crazy, better more chumot. It's always better to do more, but it's not always better to do more. Sometimes more is less. Sometimes more is not even more, and more is just stupid. I mean, there's more, which is it's a chumah. There's a minhag, it's not extra, it's just ridiculous that someone does such a thing. He's going to give a few examples of that now. So we're going to hate on the Sfaradim first, so don't worry. Okay? I said this in my shiur in Los Angeles. I didn't know actually that he said it. I didn't remember that he said it. So I quoted Rabbi Yosef Masas, which is the same exact thing. But it's okay, they hated me for it anyways. ויש מאלה מהספרדים, there are these ספרדים, שלא אוכלים חומוס בפסח. Many ספרדים have a minhag, both Moroccans and Syrians and other people that came to fight, they also had this minhag. They don't eat hummus on Pesach. Why not?
Because it sounds like
it's not because hummus is keeping you up like the Ashkenazim. It's because hummus, מפני שתיבת חומוס בערבית נשמעת כחמץ. Hummus and chametz and Arabic sound similar to each other. Rabbi Yosef Masas, I don't understand. The whole Torah reading of Pesach, every day you're reading about chametz. So what, you can't say chametz, but you hummus, come on. It's a silly thing, people. ויש שאינם אוכלים טחינה. Some don't eat טחינה. Why? Because טחינה means to grind, like flour. ואומרים שזה מנהגם. Oh, this is our minhag. Don't make fun of our minhagim. ויש אשכנזים שלא אוכלים גזר. There are many אשכנזים who don't eat carrots on Pesach. It's a real minhag. Still exists, this minhag. ואומרים מפני שנקרא ביידיש מרן. Because in Yiddish it's called meren. I don't know how to pronounce the word. פירוש להוסיף, it means to add. ולכן גזירה הוא בצק. So they compare it to dough. שמוסיף במידתו על ידי חימוצו. That as it rises, it increases. And the word carrot in Yiddish reminds people of the increasing, the rising of the dough. And because of that, they have a minhag not to eat the carrots on Pesach.
It's a bit of a stretch.
And by the way, you hear rabbis tell these stories. Wow, look how holy these mothers were that they didn't eat carrots on Pesach. They didn't eat tchina on Pesach. What's so holy about this? What about oxygen? How do you say oxygen in Hebrew? You know? Chamtzan. The root is chametz.
Stop breathing.
So now I make a minhag, no more breathing on
No
Pesach.
more breathing.
Or wear a face mask.
Can you imagine?
Filter out the comments.
ועוד כל מיני דברים כאלה, and more, there's many things like this. ומהם שמחמירים בכגון זה, some people are strict about these things. ומאידך גיסא, on the other hand, מקילים בריקודים מעורבים בחתונות. In weddings they have mixed dancing. וחיבוק ונישוק בעריות. And they hug and kiss men and women. והכל על פי מנהג. But it's all their minhag. Ask them. It was their minhag not to eat hummus on Pesach, but yes to hug women. That's their minhag. It's all a minhag.
It's a common minhag.
Yeah. Very cute. ובפסחים איתה, and גם בסדר פסחים it says, אמר לי רבינו רבשי, Ravina tells Ravashi, I'm on the bottom paragraph. On the right column. What do you do with your knives for Pesach? How do you make them kosher for Pesach? Amar le ledidi, I buy new ones. It's not an old new mentality that people buy new things for Pesach. Amar le tinach mar de efshar le, de lo efshar le mai. He says that's okay if you can afford new knives. What does a person who can't afford them do? Amar le anaken chadata kamina. Katayhu betina, upazadahu benua, v'hadar ma'ilan l'katayhu berotchin. Then he goes through explaining how he kashers his knife with fire, with water, with those things. V'ilchada idi v'idi berotchin uv'chei rishon. And the halakha is that you can kasher your knives HaRav Ashi, you see from the Gemara that Rav Ashi, Af Shaya Ashir Gadol, even though he was a very wealthy man, says Rav Abadi, V'Torah u'Gdula b'Makom Echad, and the Gemara Masar Gittin says that he was both great in Torah and in wealth. Af al pi ken lo kana la'atzmo sekinim chadashim lePesach, he never bought himself new knives for Pesach. V'chshir otam b'libun v'agala kedinam, and he kashered them either with fire or with water, as according to Halakha. V'lo chash la'achmer la'atzmo, and he never heard of this chumah that we don't kasher things for Pesach. Never heard of this chumah? My wife's family, they don't kasher things for Pesach.
You know.
No, when they hear that we kasher things for Pesach, they get very upset.
Well, only by new.
Well,
By new, they have a Pesach kitchen, and they have Pesach pots, and Pesach pans, and Pesach. They don't kasher things from Pesach, chametz and Pesach. So what about the whole chapters in Shulchan Aruch that talks about how to kasher things for Pesach?
There are people who have
So-
separate kitchens that they're like closed.
Yeah, my in-laws
behind
have
like
a
a-
kitchen. It's behind a
and-
wall.
Yeah.
You would never know it was there, and then they peel down the wall. Behind it is a separate kitchen. Don't think. My mother-in-law kashers her kitchen for Pesach, and then she covers it and uses the new one.
It's a lot of work.
וכל אלו המחמירים כיום, and all these people who have חומרות today, שכל הכלים צריכים להיות חדשים, they have to have new utensils, ותנור חדש, and a new oven. אינם מקיימים בזה מצווה יותר גדולה, they're not fulfilling any bigger mitzvah, top of the left column. וגם אין פה מקום לחומה, there's not even a place for a חומה, ולמה נחמיר יותר מרב אשי? Who are you to be stricter than רב אשי in the Talmud? ועדיף יותר אם היו נותנים כסף זה לצדקה. How much better would it be if they took all this money they're spending every year on new dishes, on new pots, on new pans, give it to poor people. L'kimcha de pischa. There's a halacha to give money to poor people before Pesach. ובפרט קודם Pesach, especially before Pesach, where people really need the money. ומאידך גיסא, on the other hand, אלה שרוצים להחמיר על עצמם ואלה ממצאים מטילים עצמם על הציבור חומותיהם, ודאי זה לא טוב עושים. Then you have the other problem. The people that you give money to for Pesach are for sure using your money to keep all kinds of chumot. And now you're paying for their chumot. I had a man come to me, Erev Pesach, 2 years ago. Rabbi, I don't have money for matzot for Pesach. I said, look, I'll help you. I'll help you buy matzot. No, they have to be shmur on matzot. Right now, for the price of $1 of shmur on matzah, I can buy you 5 packages of 5 boxes of matzot. And for $25, I can send you home matzot for the whole Pesach. You want me to buy you 5 matzot for $25?
What's that? The guy who that Hasidic story about the guy who was starving.
Well,
His
they
family was
told-
starving with his etrog in the woods.
That's
and
right.
He thought he was being told by the Yitzchak of HaRav to sell his etrog to buy food for his family.
Yeah, that's exactly here. So what happened? This guy came and said, you know what, come back to me tomorrow. I'll get you shmur matzah. I'll do it. That's okay. I'll figure it out. He went to another rabbi in San Diego. This rabbi gave him, said, don't worry, I'll give you a box of matzot. So he took a box of matzot. Shmur matzot. The driver takes 50% of everything the guy gets. He opened the box of matzot and took half the matzot from the box. Mugged him. I don't believe. Comes back to me the next day, tells me the story. Oh, the guy took my matzot. I said, so now you want me to give you a box of shmur matzot and he's going to take half of them too? Come to me alone. When you come, I'll give you a matzot. I don't know why you go around with him. You can't have a chumah and expect that we're going to pay for it. You can't decide, oh, I only eat this kind of shchita, so what do you want from me? I'm happy to help you. Most people will be happy to help you. But most people are not going to fund your chumrah that they themselves don't observe. It's not fair. It's also not fair that the people who educated the poor, educated them, that this chumrah that they keep is somehow so important that even when they're starving to death, they have to keep it.
A lot of people don't even know what they're keeping chumrot.
That's right. That's right.
They
Most
think
people, they
this
think
is
this is
how
the
this is
halakha.
how you do Judaism where we go, and this is what you wear, and this is how you eat, and this is what you do, and it's like the whole thing that happened years ago with the class in HaRav Yisrael.
That's right.
You were simply explaining
What the
where it
halakha
comes
was,
from,
and
it was a total
The
outrage.
world went nuts. That's right. I remember one of the rabbis that came to criticize me, and I told him, if you could translate the source sheet for yourself, I would have a conversation with you. But you don't know how to.
You'll be Hebrew.
Yeah, that's what I did. That was an official meeting here. So there was a meeting of rabbis that got together about that class. They invited my wife and myself. They summoned me to a meeting over that class. And like an idiot, I went. No, I was like an idiot. And when they asked, well, how dare you give us this class? I said, dear Rabbi, if you could understand the materials on the source sheet, I would have this conversation with you. But you don't know how to learn. What do you ask me? When you put me like on a stat, I'm supposed to defend something? I taught a shiur in halakha, like anything else in halakha. It's a scary thing. Mention chumot. People don't know they're fine chumot. Tell poor people who don't have food to eat. They think, like, everyone shares that story about their talk. What a wonderful miracle. The guy gave all his money and bought a talk for his family. What about his family was hungry? You can borrow someone else's talk according to halakha. There's synagogue. It has an talk you can go borrow. It's not your priority to have 11 talk when your wife doesn't have food at home. Who's teaching that to people, though? Words said, listen, this has the... It's an amazing thing. It's the world of yeshivot that is creating poor people. At least you would think in the yeshivot, they would teach them a class also on how to follow halakha when you're poor.
Always sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice.
But
L'shem
to
Shamayim.
what end? To what
It's
end?
a Christian idea. The suffering saint.
Yeah, but they don't suffer so much.
Right.
If you live on the Vatican cheshbon, you suffer too. I would suffer like that also. Yeah, whatever you want, the house you want, the car you want, the church you want. It's great. It's great to suffer like that. This is the problem. The problem, people don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, and then they... I was talking about something else. What did I say before HaRav Abadi? Talking about Minhagim.
It was about the matzah.
Shmur matzah. You know, all matzot are shmur matzah. There's no such thing as a non-shmur matzah. It doesn't exist. Shmur matzah means the flour was guarded. Maran Shulchan Aruch brings down a few opinions. It was guarded from the time it was harvested. That's one level of shmur matzah. Shmur matzah that was guarded from the time it was ground. That's another level of shmura. Maran says, what's the least level of shmura?
Machine.
Guarded while it was baked.
Yeah, mamash like that. Yes, that's right. Maran says you don't have flour. You go to the market. You buy yourself flour. You make yourself matzah, and that's shmur matzah also. Mikal adin, a person goes to the store and buys flour and makes matzah erev Pesach in your house. There's no...
Like so many of our great grandmothers did.
They all did like this. All of them did that. Now, by the way, I'm going to tell you, I understand that today's world, the flour has been bleached and the water has been... You should know. I spoke at length about this. That doesn't necessarily make the flour chametz. Those who know how well know that not just because wheat gets wet makes it chametz. Wheat has to be wet for a certain, not just amount of time, but until it absorbs enough water that it would split.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily true with the grains, even those that are processed with water. But okay, let's be straight. Yes. So you have to go to...
It has to undergo a transformation, a metamorphosis of some kind.
To become chametz, that's the definition of chametz. But let's say you shouldn't use the flour in the grocery store for chametz. There's places where you can buy real pure flour. That's all you need to make matzot. You need that in a skillet on your stovetop. What do you need to make matzah? Water and that. That's it. So someone who's poor should be spending $40 a pound buying shmura matzah. It doesn't make sense. I make lafot almost every Shabbat. Those lafot, if we took out the salt, because people have a minhag, but the Yemenites we use salt matzot, but I don't do it in public. You take out the salt. Those matzot, those lafot are kasher at Pesach. What's the big deal? It's not so hard. It doesn't need holes. It doesn't need to be crunchy. It just needs to be baked in a certain amount of time. So, and even then, remember we said if you're kneading the dough, you can knead the dough the whole day.
So what's the source of the custom not to put salt in? Since salt inhibits that fermentation.
It seems like, even in the Gemara, that salt was used in matzot, because matzot had a nice flavor to them. But the Yemenites were very upset when the Sfaradim stopped using salt. The Yemenites' reaction was, matzot have to be poor people's bread, not disgusting bread. That was bread without any salt. What does it taste like? But Lama said there were those who are worried. Everyone's worried about something. Worried about that the salt may cause the chimutz, the fermenting, to happen faster.
Mm-hmm.
The same way why Ashkenazim won't put eggs or juice inside of their matzot. The same way that there are people who get upset that you use mineral water for matzot. Maybe the minerals are going to... People don't know anything about how chametz works.
Well, usually the Rabbanim were very scientific about halachot, and salt slows down fermentation. It's necessary to make bread in the normal way that's fermented, but it takes longer to do it than if you use nothing.
The Gemara says that if you take flour and squeeze, not take orange juice that's been through water and mixed, take an orange and you squeeze the juice into the flour. It's pure juice, not even one drop of water. You can let the flour sit all day, and it does not become chametz.
Wow.
It won't
It
break
doesn't
the
qualify
shell.
as chimutz. Fruit juice doesn't do to flour what water does. Along come Chachmei Ashkenaz and say, no, we have the opposite. It could be that orange juice will make it rise faster. The Gemara specifically rules otherwise. According to the science of the Chachmei Talmud, it doesn't cause the bread to rise like water does. One drop of water, the Gemara already changes its mind. One drop of water is enough to mess with the process.
So
But
what do they
pure
use
juice?
as a standard? I mean, did they just experience it? Did they watched it? Or,
Yeah,
or
they bake bread every day. They knew what makes things rise, what doesn't make things rise, what makes it. Chametz is not what you think. Chametz is not some disease that lurks around the corner. It's a hard. You have to work to make something chametz.
And doesn't water naturally have minerals in it anyhow? Some minerals in it?
Everywhere you're gonna go, water has a mineral. That's right. So what do? They go and like in Israel, they like to go to the well springs and get water there. So there you have worms in the water. That's all they do.
Yeah.
What's it? That's what they choose. I use water bottles. They use that. People sometimes they don't know how to learn properly. HaRav Peretz, when he was a poor avrech, a poor man, when he was a college student, he used to go to the matzah factories and all the matzot they would throw away. That's what he would take home for Pesach.
Oh,
He didn't have money to pay for them. They considered them all chametz. He knew they weren't chametz, so he took them home.
they threw them away? Why?
Today's
cracked
matzah
ones.
factories, they're mostly, they say 18-minute matzah, they're mostly 11 to 12-minute matzahs. Once they pass the 12-minute mark, they have a new stringency, they throw it away. Thousands of matzot get thrown away.
I thought if it's underbaked, it's not going to be a problem.
I mean, if it's baked faster than 18 minutes?
Yeah.
They have a new stringency. Like, they don't want to get close to the 18-minute mark. They stop at 11, 12-minute mark. 15-minute matzahs. So he would go, take those matzahs. What are you going to do? Didn't have money to buy matzahs. What's the point of the Chumrah? Nobody knows, because even the Chachmei Talmud didn't rule that way.
Is it baked well enough after 12 or 11 minutes?
Sure, the Ashkenazi matzot they're not baked, they're burnt.
Yeah, that's
I mean, there's nothing to worry about in terms of baking. That's why the custom that the Hasidim have not to dip the matzah in water doesn't make any sense. Especially when using an Ashkenazi matzah. An Ashkenazi matzah, there's not a chance in the world that you're going to find dough in the middle of those matzah. It's not a possibility. There's one Ashkenazi Chacham, the Gaon of Lisa. He had a Minhagim. His descendants until today have the same Minhag. I once heard one of the Chachamim say that from all the Ashkenazi Chumrot, this is the best one. He only ate matzah on the first night of Pesach and the second night of Pesach. Because it's a biblical obligation to have matzah.
Yeah.
In the rest of Pesach, he didn't touch matzah. Because if there's anything that could actually have chametz, it's not the beans, it's not the rice, it's not the sugar cubes, it's not the garlic, it's not the it's the matzah. That might be the only thing at your table that actually can become chametz.
what about the last day of Pesach?
What about it?
You had to have matzah again to make motzi.
No, he held you don't have to. Well, only chayuv is on the night time. It's like any other person who doesn't have bread. What do you do when you don't have bread? Only on the first 2 nights of Pesach you have an obligation to eat matzah.
So
The
you
rest
don't-
of Pesach you have an obligation not to eat bread.
So you just have to make kiddush on the last day. You don't have to make
No,
matzah.
you have to make if you have bread, you have to make hamotzi. So he treated it as if he didn't have bread. He didn't have
Oh,
matzah.
I see.
Simply, he was a person who didn't have bread.
Okay.
People are worried they don't have sugar on Pesach because sugar might be mixed with flour. When did you find sugar mixed with flour? It's been 200 years since that happened. So that chumrah is a silly chumrah, but the chumrah of not having matzah, that's a real chumrah. It could be. All right, let's keep going. Uminyan linyan. It says once I'm already talking about this topic, let's talk about other things.
I'm sorry, left side.
Yesh harbe dvarim. There are many things. The second paragraph on the left-hand side. Shebnei adam machmirim. That people are strict about. V'chumratam bayim lidei kula. And from their chumah, they come to a place of leniency. I mean, they think they're doing something better, but they end up doing something worse. Like what? Kmo achilat maro. Like eating maro for Pesach. You have to eat how much maro for Pesach?
Kazayas?
Kazayat?
Because
You have to eat a kazayit.
That's a lot.
Shefshar b'kal lekayam achat chasa. It's very easy to fulfill the kazayit of maro, eating romaine lettuce. V'af shematzui behem tolaim. Yes, and even though there are worms found in romaine lettuce,
Yummy.
Alidei shtifa b'mayim. Once you wash it with water, ubdika, and you check it, and malach shosh. There's nothing to worry about anymore. You've washed the lettuce. You looked at the lettuce. It's done. ועוד אפשר לאכול את החלקים האלה שוודאי נראים נקיים. There are parts of the lettuce that are cleaner than others, like the outer leaves. Sometimes are more, but the inside is beautiful. It's clean. כמו כן בזמן הזה, says nowadays יש חסה ולא טלאים. You could also buy chasa without worms in the front. I'm not here to get into that topic.
Oh, they had Trader Joe's back in the
ובמקום, yeah. ובמקום זה מחמירים לאכול את החזרת. And here, he said instead of that, what do they eat? חזרת. What is חזרת?
Horseradish.
Chrein, belaz. He said in the language of idol worshippers, chrein.
I said in the language of my version.
Laz is the word we use to refer to non-Jewish languages. So he's saying, like in
Oh.
non-Hebrew, chrein. The horseradish. The kivan שזה חריף מדי, because it's too spicy, it's too sharp, קשה לאכול כשהוא כזית. Who's really able to eat a whole kazait of chrein?
I've seen
The
people
mitzvah
try to do
is you have to have a kazait. How much chrein does a person eat? A whole spoonful of chrein they're eating? They could die from that. ובבחן למחמירים שכזית היא ביצה שלמה שימינו. This is especially those people who hold that a kazait of then is an egg size of today. You know those people?
Yeah.
הרי הם מסתכנים. Those people will literally endanger their lives if they try to eat an egg-sized amount of chrein. I once I saw a person running around the table eating chrein. He ate a spoonful. Hakafot. He confused the holidays.
I think it's more dangerous to eat the large amount of matzah within so many seconds.
וממילא לא אוכלים כשיעור. So inevitably, the people who don't use romaine lettuce, they eat chrein. They eat chrein, and they don't eat enough of it to even fulfill the mitzvah. ועוד שהתמחה עצמה, דהיינו מה שקוראים היום חריין, יש גם בזה ספק אם יוצאים בזה ידי מרור כמו באחרונים. He said, don't you know the myriad of achronim that say that you don't even fulfill the obligation of maror with this chrein?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. There are different reasons, I didn't get. והרבה מאלה שאוכלים מטעם חבלו החסה אינם יודעים עיקר הטעם לחומה. And those who eat the horseradish and they don't eat the lettuce, they don't even know where the minhag came from not to eat the lettuce.
The question is where the minhag came to eat the lettuce.
That's
Because why
what's-
is lettuce bitter?
Lettuce is in the Gemara. It's explicitly what is ma'or. We know forever and ever and ever we've been eating lettuce as ma'or.
Maror.
That's the obviously this is the ma'or.
I
It's like
know.
saying how do we know tefillin are meant to be black? Because that's always what we've been doing. Ma'or is not meant to be bitter so it should kill you.
You know, just
Yeah,
beyond
'cause
me,
if it's-
to rationalize something like this.
What?
Old school
Lettuce-
maror.
Lettuce as
It's
bitter.
it's written in the Gemara.
I know,
Rabbi
I
No,
know.
if you ever took
If
lettuce,
you eat ma'or, like the stalk of the ma'or, it's not a sweet vegetable.
did you ever grow a lettuce in your garden?
Uh-huh.
If it gets, when it starts to get hot, it's definitely bitter. So there's
So
always a
is-
little bit of bitterness.
Is romaine lettuce special compared to other lettuces?
Lav dafka. There's
They
no
all get
argument about
bitter,
that.
or
Yeah.
they're overgrown.
Romaine
Right.
seems to be the one that
Oh
we
yeah,
eat.
it tastes terrible.
But there were places where it's an interesting article about how we got to romaine lettuce. There are lettuces that they used to go get in the desert that were imagine bitter, and that's what they used to eat.
If there's a wild
I said
lettuce.
romaine is not meant to be bitter enough, or else you wouldn't be able to eat that much of it. You're supposed to be eating a lot of it. Romaine lettuce, bichlal, is something people eat in salads. People. I was the other day. I ate some cabbage, on its own. No salad, no dressing, no.
By itself.
It's very spicy.
Yeah, it can be.
I
can
never
be.
had a cabbage.
It
It was
can
like
be.
mamash. It was
Can be.
sharp.
Yeah, it can be.
It's good for you.
You ought to try bok choy.
I love bok choy.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
The reason why people didn't eat romaine, the having mishum chashash tolaim, is because they didn't want to get the problem of worms.
Oh.
That's where the minhag comes from. ובכל ימות השנה אוכלים את החסה בשופי ואין יודעים מה מעשה, but the same people that the whole year they eat lettuce for salad and lunch every day. So now comes Pesach, they're not eating lettuce, they're eating chrein because they
Right.
think it's a minhag to eat chrein.
Right.
The minhag of chrein comes from the minhag of people who didn't eat lettuce ever because it was too infested with bugs for their taste.
Okay. That
So now
That
the same
makes
people,
sense.
the same people who are eating chrein, they're gonna serve later lettuce in the dinner, no?
right.
I mean, the person doesn't know where even the minhag comes from. Vayen Baruch HaShulchan. Look at the Aruch HaShulchan. Aruch HaShulchan asked your question. Lettuce is not bitter. So why are we eating lettuce as bitter herbs?
Good question.
Aruch HaShulchan asked your question.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
וכך אמרו בגמרא, the Gemara says, מצווה בחזרת, the mitzvah is to eat חזרת, as maro. My chazeret. What is chazeret? Chasa. Chasa is lettuce. Until today, lettuce is called lettuce. Chasa. My chasa. What is the definition of chasa? What does that word mean? Dechas rachamana alan. That Hashem was chas. He had compassion on the Jewish people. V'lachen, says the Aruch HaShulchan, afal gav shel hamirut, even though the chasa is not bitter, mikol makom hi yoter mitzvah, it's more of a mitzvah than anything else you're going to eat. Because the word chasa, it's a play on words. That's why we eat chasa for the seder. Nothing to do with bitter herbs.
Really?
Really. That's what he says.
Interesting. Good.
So that's kind of,
Lettuce does have bitterness to it, though. You made mild enough that you
yeah,
will eat it, but like you ever have endive?
yeah.
Endive is delicious, but it's a little
Yeah,
bit
it can
bitter.
be strong. But it is true that if you serve the bitter herbs as part of the Seder, and then, okay, let's the first course, salad with lettuce.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy this. It's so good. Crisp, sweet.
There's a Gemara he's
Yes.
quoting from Masechet Nida.
Just don't eat ice cream.
Let's go look it up. Let me find it.
Ooh.
I'm gonna first see if I can find it properly in Safari, and then I'll tell you where to go. Talmud. Okay, Gemara Nida. It's not translated into English in Safari. That's what I was checking. The rabbis are saying, Ita. Okay, Gemara Nida, Ita, it says in Mamzach Nida, Tumat am haaretz baregel ketara shavinu abanan. Even though Amei Haaretz are impure, on the holidays the rabbis consider them to be pure. I'm not going to explain why Tuma, why Tara. Dichtiv v'yasef kol ish Yisrael la'ir k'ish echad chaverim. The pasuk says that all the Jewish people gathered to Jerusalem as one person, as friends. Hakatuv asa kulan chaverim. The pasuk prefers to make even those people who are impure regularly, to make them pure, so they can all be friends during the holidays. Let's skip to the end of the paragraph. ואחר כל המחאות האלה, כשהגיע הרגע, נעשו כל ישראל חברים, וכולם מוכרים אצל כולם, ואין שום פרישות. The rabbi's purpose was, says HaRav Abadi, that even though the whole year we have problems with Amei Haaretz, with ignoramuses, we're not sure if we can trust them, we're not sure how, when it came time for the holiday, everybody ate by everybody. That was the point. The Chachamim wanted to make sure that in the Beit HaMikdash, everybody could eat from everybody's meal. V'hine b'yameinu, he says, and nowadays, letzarenu, in the bottom left, to our great disappointment, יש כל מיני חומרות, there are all kinds of stringencies, שאנשים מחמירים, that people are strict about. ובגללם אינם אוכלים אצל אחרים, because of that they won't eat in other people's houses. וברגל, and on a holiday, שהיו צריכים להיות כולם חברים, that everyone is supposed to be friends, נעשה ההפך, the opposite happens, everyone becomes enemies. ולא, it's not only that, אלא שאני זוכר מעשה, I remember a story, says everybody, שהיה בפסח, and that was by Pesach, it said מורי ורבי, by my rabbi and my teacher, that's Rabbi Aaron Cutler, שהזמין מישהו לאכול משהו, he invited somebody to come eat in his house. וכשהיינו באמצע הסעודה, ההוא שאל אם אוכלים פה מצה שרויה. In the middle of the meal, the man asked Rabbi Aaron Cutler, hey, do you guys eat gebraks here? In Hebrew, the word for gebraks is matzah shruya, soaked matzah.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, Rabbi Aaron Cutler is the Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Lakewood. He's not a small guy. He's not a small guy. Someone was invited to his house. He said, oh, do you guys eat gebraks? וכשהתשובה הייתה חיובית, and when the response was, yes, we do, פער את פיו, I'm on the top of the next page, he opened up his mouth ואמר, אני לא יכול לאכול פה כלום, I can't hear anything in your house.
I'm bored.
By Rav Aaron Cutler's house, you decided kashrut is not good enough for you. This year, we had a story, parents told me, about a man, one of his students, invited someone, they needed a place to stay for Pesach. They came to the house like an hour before the holiday. They saw that the countertops were not covered in aluminum foil. The guest was invited, the husband says, "You guys don't cover your counters for Pesach? I'm leaving your house." So he got up and went back to his house. No food, no nothing. He can't eat in a house that doesn't have aluminum foil on the countertops.
One less Amaretz at the,
That's right. והנה עבר על איסור חמור, and he violated a terrible prohibition, בגלל חומרתו על איסור שאינו בנמצא, by being strict about something that's not even realistic. All Chachmei Ashkenaz and Chachmei Sfarad are stupid that they didn't know the Minhag of Gibrats. Only a few hundred years ago, someone woke up and, what about the dough and the matzah? What about the flour and the matzah? What about all the Chachamim throughout all the generations? Ashkenazim and Sephardim. Well, they didn't know that matzah can't get wet on Pesach? They forgot about it? So you decided to make up a chumrah. And you decided that it's such an important chumrah that's not even realistic. The matzot never rise in the middle of Pesach. He made a big deal about it. He says, I know that all of you who read this are going to come up with good excuses why the man didn't want to eat at Rabbi Kaller's house. But if you want to know the truth, that all of your answers won't help anything. The guy is wrong, Rabbi Kaller was right, leave him alone.
Oh, by the way, just for the record, aluminum was discovered in 1825
Oh, good to know.
1820.
You know what aluminum
Not that
foil
far
started
back.
getting
by
put
the
down?
Danish chemist Hans Christian.
Oh. If only Sir Christian would know how many Jews use it.
Are very insist on his discovery.
And we found back in the 1800s a little OU on the bottom.
all the atoms align themselves. Look at the microscope. Look at the electron microscope. They're all lined up like a little OU.
וגם החומרות חמץ, and also if you should look at the stringencies regarding חמץ on Pesach. רובם ככולם, the majority of them, אינם אלא מדרבנן, are only rabbinic level stringency. I mean, they're only trying to stay away from things that are rabbinically prohibited. I mean, the chumrot of Pesach are not protecting biblical prohibitions like chametz. They're trying to keep people away from all kinds of rabbinic things, like the pots that are only rabbinically prohibited, or the kitniot, which are only trying to protect you from another protection of which is rabbinic at the end of the day, or whatever chumrot people are worried about, the oven, the stove, the microwave. All of those are rabbinic chumrot. Lemi shebaki k'tzat b'halakha, and anybody who's an expert in halakha will understand that most of the chumrot people have on Pesach are only on a rabbinic level of meaning they're not even biblical chumrot, they're rabbinic chumrot. He puts them and he said, I'm not talking about the experts in today that we have today in the Jewish community. This is a step. Because the rabbis that we know of who are experts are only experts in chumot. They don't actually know halakha, they only know chumot. Once someone came to our parents with a book on the laws of Shabbat. He asked for a letter of approval. But I need to borrow the book for the night. The next morning, the guy came and said, I'm sorry, here's your book back. I said, what? He said, I can't give you Haskava in the book. I said, why not? Because on the cover it says, Hilchot Shabbat, the laws of Shabbat. And in this book, it's only Chumrot of Shabbat. He said, so if you want to change the title to Chumrot of Shabbat, I'm happy to write you a letter. But so long as you're pretending this is a halakha, I can't give you a letter. It sounds funny to you, it sounds mean to you, but somebody has to tell a person it's too much. It's too much. What you're saying is not real. How could it be that the Rambam, the laws of Lashon Hara, he has maybe 5 or 8, I don't remember exactly, laws of Lashon Hara. How do you manage to have today 3-volume works on the laws of Lashon Hara? How does it happen? How Maran writes 4 sentences on Asher Yatzar, and I saw with my own eyes a 3-volume work, Hilchot Asher Yatzar. Maran has a few chapters on the laws of Ketubot, and I saw in Yerushalayim when I was there 8 volumes on the laws of Ketubot. HaRav Abadi has 1 chapter in his book on Ketubot. And there you know everything you need to know. I can't tell you Ketubot I fixed for people. I've never had to look in a book outside of that one. 1 chapter. What do you read 8 volumes for? I mean, you're talking about the people today are experts in all kinds of chumot, but actual halakha, you tell them halakha they never heard about in their life. Like those of you who are here on the fast day, we're talking about the halachot of commemoration of the Beit HaMikdash. Nobody does those things. Misham says, I don't know why nobody keeps these halachot. Nobody listens to music down to 3 weeks. It doesn't say that anywhere. But there's a halakha that says that when you set a table, you have to leave an empty seat. Zechel HaChuban, in commemoration of the Beit HaMikdash. There's a halakha that when you paint your house, you have to leave opposite the door an amah by amah that's not painted. What about all those halachot? Those threw them out the window. But the minhagim they make up today, where does it say that? What do they have these minhagim for? You can't get married in the 3 weeks. Yeah. It's a biblical commandment to have children. A rabbinic minhag that the Rambam never heard of? You're going to now turn it, it's going to push away biblical commandments? It can't be. It just, the sechel, your brain can't accept these things. ואילו בטומאה וטהרה שהרבה יותר חמורה והייתה מצויה הרבה להיכשל בה, בכל זאת החמירו ברגל. You find in the Gemara that there were tumah and tahara, real issues that they should be worried about in the Beit HaMikdash, but because the purpose of the holidays was to unite the Jewish people, the rabbis were not strict about those things. The purpose was to unite people. Today I had a question that somebody asked me. They want to know about traveling in the 9 days. They take an airplane, they're a resident in a hospital, they only have mamash a few days to go visit their family. They want to know if they could fly. And I said, I want to understand the motivation of the answer that I'll give you is family is also a holy value in Judaism. It's part of the equation. To go have a Pesach Seder with your mother, it's a halachic calculation here. Not separating yourself from the whole world is I just recently watched a documentary about dozens and dozens of Israeli singers. It's not 1 or 2 or 3 or 5, it's 20.
Israeli what?
Israeli musicians.
Oh, singers.
Singers, bands that keep Shabbat. They're not officially observant. They don't perform from Friday night till Saturday night. It's become such a trend that the Israeli Music Festival, which is always on Shabbat, has now moved to the weekdays.
Yeah.
And some Israelis are livid about this. How dare they force that religion down our throat?
They don't understand that their entertainers
Right?
are
They say,
woke.
we don't want to perform. So much so that even when the it's called a festival, it starts on festival, but festival means like the festival,
wave.
the waves, like the festival. Sometimes it starts on Saturday night, and it starts a minute before Shabbat ends. So the musicians that observe Shabbat, they're not people like people with them beards. They're just regular Israeli musicians. They take a hotel near the place and they walk. They come about 30 minutes late, and the whole operation it's already part of the plan that the musicians that observe Shabbat, they always enter, their appearance is half an hour into the show. It's just the way it is. Some of them don't want to play on instruments that were used in the Shabbat performance. So they have their own set of instruments for the Shomer Shabbat musicians.
Smart.
These are rappers, these are hip-hop artists, they just don't want to perform on Shabbat. And they're talking about it, how every one of them has been offered some huge show in Las Vegas or in Denmark. I'm sorry, we don't perform on Friday. Why not on Friday? Because I'm Jewish and Jews don't perform on Friday. And how that's been like a point in their career where everyone says, it's a lot of money, I don't want to lose money. And every one of these musicians, they tell you, I'm not saying I check their checkbooks. When they ask the director of the festival, he's the one who organizes it, like, did you get a financial hit because now it's on a Sunday instead of a Saturday? It's a work day in Israel. He's going to tell the truth. We've moved it already twice, and we've only made more money in the last 2 years than we did previously. He said, you could say it's mysticism, you could say some supernatural. I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is the last 2 years I made more money.
And that's important.
Because I'm not here to tell you now
Lovely.
some supernatural thing. Simply, he said it works for him. It's not even a financial problem for him. What was I telling you this? One of the musicians there, there were 3 friends. They've been in band already for 30 years. Back in the day, they were very famous Israeli musicians. And over the years, one of them became ultra-Orthodox, like Haredi, hat, long, pale, beard, the whole thing. One of them became like a little more traditional. He does Shabbat with his family a little bit, but not religious. And the third one, he stayed like everybody else. And they performed together. And it's a fascinating thing. I'm not the guy's rabbi. But a few years ago, they decided to introduce a 4th musician, and she's the woman who sings. And now the question was, how does the 3rd guy stay on board?
Yeah.
It's fascinating. He went to his rabbi. And his rabbi said, I have to understand, this is Israel. In America, these things would never fly. This rabbi would be excommunicated. Israel, there's many flavors in the rainbow. That's not a... I'm saying the guy, he's maybe breast... I don't know, he looks like a gung-ho chassid.
Put
The rabbi
headphones
said,
on?
when you wear those headphones, you get to choose whoever's in charge of the I don't know, the technical terms of the amplifiers and everything else.
Yeah.
The
They
mixer.
can choose what
Yeah.
you hear in your earphones. Just tune her out. If it's okay with her, and it's okay with you, he said, listen, he knows the song, he's been playing these songs for 40 years. So he knows songs by heart. He doesn't hear her. She's on stage, she's singing, she's performing, so it's just like she needs to sing, I need to not hear her.
But it looks like he's endorsing something.
So they asked, so what about this group? It's a weird connection.
The Mart Ayin.
And you know what the guy said, the lead singer said? Friendship is also a holy thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was something that people need to hear a little more. If you could show people, look, musicians, one is religious, one is not religious, one is a woman, they could all manage to make it work somehow.
Well,
We could do the same thing in society as well. We could do it if we cared enough about each other. When we say it's important for me to see you have tea in your aunt's house, it's not that I don't care about halakha. There's a value in halakha of coming off as a kiddush Hashem also. That's a halakhic value. It's a little bit more difficult than other things because you don't exactly know how to plug it into the equation. How much weight does it carry? How much does respecting your parents matter over details of halakha? That's an important question. But it has to be part of the equation. So the last paragraph. V'yadua ha'maaseh shaya bevilna. It's known the story that happened in Vilna. Shagaon mivilna pasak al shelat of le'eze mishpacha ve'asar. The Vilna Gaon held that there was a certain chicken. He ruled that it was not kosher. When someone came to him, Rabbi, is a chicken. You know, Chachamei Ashkenaz were very brilliant with it. I recently read a story about one of Chachamei Ashkenaz. They came, a little girl was sent to a Pesach. Her mom said, go take the chicken to the rabbi, ask him if it's kosher. She brought the chicken to the rabbi looked at the chicken, says, please go home and bring me the chicken that your mother sent. That's what he means. It's not the chicken that your mother sent to me. I was surprised. How do you know? He said, I'm sure that you're afraid that I'm going to say no to the chicken. And because of that, you brought me a kosher chicken. So you could go tell your mom that I said it's kosher. He said, but this chicken is so perfect, there's nothing wrong with it. It couldn't be that your mother had a question about this chicken. Go home and bring me the chicken that she wanted to ask about. They were picky. Were very bright.
That's real.
So the Vilna Gaon says this chicken was not kosher. Vayishat lo yada'a shalu legrav v'shalcha lishol et Rabbi Shmuel Rabbah shel Vilna. The wife didn't know that someone had already asked the Vilna Gaon about the chicken. So she sent one of her other children to go to Rav Shmuel, who was the chief rabbi of Vilna. The Vilna Gaon did not hold an official position in Vilna. At least not for all his life. I've read stories otherwise, but not in this point. V'ora leheter. And Rav Shmuel of Vilna said the chicken is kosher. So the Gaon of Vilna says not kosher. Rav Shmuel, the chief rabbi of Vilna, said it is kosher. וכשראו שיש בידם שתי הוראות המסותרות זו לזו, and when they found out that the same chicken was ruled on prohibitively by the Vilna Gaon and permissively by Rav Shmuel, הלכו אצל רבי שמואל וסיפרו לשאגרה השר. They went to Rav Shmuel, the chief rabbi, and said, listen, the Vilna Gaon said the chicken is not kosher. ואמר להם שיתקינו את עצמם. He said, please prepare your home. כי הוא והגרה יבואו לאכול אצלם מהעוף בליל שבת. Because both him and the Vilna Gaon are going to be their guests for Friday night dinner, and both of them are going to eat from that chicken. והכריח רבי שמואל הגאון מווילנה לבוא ביחד איתו בליל שבת לאכול מאותו עוף. And Rabbi Shmuel forced the Gaon of Vilna to come with him to the house of this family and eat from that chicken on Friday night in front of everybody. דכיוון שהוא אמר הדעתרא. He said, because he is the posek. Rabbi Shmuel is the posek of the city. צריך שידעו בני עיר שהם צריכים לסמוך על הוראתיו. The people of the city have to know that it's okay for them to rely on his halachic rulings. ואף על פי שהגאון אסר, and even though the Gaon of Vilna held that this chicken was ממש טרפה, it was not kosher. כיוון שזה היה מילתא דתליא בסברה, because it's a matter of opinion, halachic opinion, there's no black and white here, clearly there are two different approaches to it. ביטל דעתו לדעת הרב. He said, okay, I have to follow the Rav's opinion, and he prepared himself to go eat the chicken. בסוף המעשה ידוע, at the end of the story is known, שכשהביאו את המרק עם העוף לאכול, when they brought the soup with the chicken inside of it to eat, נפל בתוכו הנר שעשוי מחלב. The oil, a candle that was made out of not kosher oil, fell into the soup, and therefore he didn't have to eat it. ושמעתי ממורי ורבי, and I heard from Rav Aaron Kotler, כי מן השמיים חסו על כבודו של הגאון. That from heaven, they wanted to protect the honor of the Gaon of Vilna. אבל מן הדין, ודאי שמותר. But according to halacha, absolutely it was permissible to eat that chicken, and the Gaon of Vilna would have had to eat it. You have to understand here, it's not a story of one rabbi forcing another rabbi to follow his words. I remember reading, I think it was about Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, that when he ruled in the city, that there were certain years in Ashkenaz where Jews ate kidniyot on Pesach. They didn't have enough food. So the rabbis made a ruling, you can eat kidniyot on Pesach. People who don't know this don't realize how easy kidniyot is to get rid of. The rabbis of every city have the ability to say, in our city this year, you can eat kidniyot. And they did. In those years, the rabbis, the chief rabbi, would force all the other Talmidei Chachamim to come to his table for the first night of Seder and to eat kidniyot in his house in front of them. He wants to see that there's no Talmidei Chacham in the city that is trying to be stricter than what he ruled for the city. This was a standard operating procedure. He ends the letter here. It's not the last time Rav Abadi is going to talk about Minhagim. It's not the first time either. The purpose of the last 4 shiurim is very simple. Knowledge of halakha is the most important thing you can have as a Jewish person. You must know halachot. Even minhagim. Minhagim are to be respected. When they're not harmful or they're valuable, but you have to know where minhagim come from. You also have to know how important or not important a certain minhag is. Just because we had a minhag once doesn't mean we'll have a minhag forever. Minhagim change. So anyone who says that minhagim don't change is wrong. We brought you a dozen examples of things in Shulchan Aruch that have changed, and it's not even the beginning. It's not the tip of the iceberg. We brought you places where the minhagim are harmful. People who follow these minhagim can end up in a bad place. We found minhagim, they're not really minhagim. The people who are doing them think that's what they were doing, but it doesn't make it a minhag just because somebody did something. And even minhagim of our parents, we brought numerous proofs that there are no such thing as family or ethnic minhagim. If you have a halachic source that violates, that contradicts that minhag. Meaning, you are able, as a Talmid Chacham, to say, I respect my family very much. But in my study of this halakha, I've reached a different conclusion. If that is the halachic conclusion you've reached, you can't just sit around and follow a minhag that your halakha doesn't agree with. Now, can everyone make that call? We didn't say everybody can make that call. Very clear throughout this letter that the Chachamim are the ones who are involved in making these decisions. By the way, you'll normally find the minhagim that are valuable minhagim are the ones that were made by the Chachamim. The minhagim that end up being clown minhagim, most likely you won't find a Chacham who ever signed off on those things. Not Ashkenazi, not Sephardic. People started doing something, and then it just happened. What do you want? People do it. There are all kinds of minhagim like that happen today in the Jewish community. So you don't even know where some things come from. When I once did a chuppah, and as I led the bride and the groom to the yichur, one of the rabbis wanted to put a silver spoon on the floor. They should step over it. It's a sign of good luck or parnasah or what. They asked me, should we do it? I said, listen, I don't know where this minhag comes from. I'm not here to hate minhagim. If you want a good parnasah, go to the room and pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for parnasah. Stepping over spoons to me is a stupid thing. What do you want from me? What can I tell you? I was once on the chuppah and somebody said, oh, we have a minhag. This is a true story. This happened by the way. I told the story once on the shiur. People, oh, by our wedding they did that too. Where the groom steps on the bride's foot under the chuppah.
What?
Yeah, to show her under the chuppah that he's the boss in this house.
I would think it means he has two left feet and he can't dance.
Remember, I broke her toe. I said, what kind of stupid person? A Talmid Chacham,
Then they're married.
a Talmid Chacham
After you
didn't
break the
invent
toe.
this minhag. This came from some idiot who made a minhag. And then people, it's not even funny. It's embarrassing that someone has such a minhag.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassing thing.
That's as bad as walking under a ladder.
As soon as they get
No.
home, the wife brings out the rolling
Today I don't
pin.
use umbrellas. I live in San Diego. Who needs umbrellas? Even Israel. I'll pay to use umbrellas.
So
But
it
when
was-
I use an umbrella, I would only buy black umbrellas, and I would bedafka open up inside of the building. I don't care. Open up inside. Nothing happens if you open it. If you see a ladder, go walk under the ladder. Good. It's a mitzvah. What are you afraid of? What's going to happen? You walk under a ladder.
It's like black cats crossing
Yeah,
the
black
path.
cats. No problem. If I told you, if I were to have a cat, I would have a black cat, and Hashem sent me a white cat. It was But if I were I'm not going to. If I were to buy a cat or to adopt a cat, only a black cat. Everyone should know. And then they'll say, "See, he's a source."
Only a black hat with a black cat.
Sometimes the black hats are made from black cats.
No, I was gonna say, so that
I didn't know that.
minhag is to show his boss.
It's just,
That's what they told me. I don't know.
That's cool.
Who knows what is going on over there?
On your entourage.
Anybody here, man?
In 2019, especially, you think it was already something people. There are silly things everywhere. Those people who sometimes you'll hear some, oh, that's a Jewish custom. Listen, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it isn't, but I know that halakha. It doesn't make sense that if you study the Talmud, you study Rambam, you study Shulchan Aruch, some things you hear they just don't. They don't sit well with you, and the more you investigate them, you'll realize you're right. Your gut reaction was correct. You know how many years it
40
was?
years of that.
How many years it was of me telling. I gave a shul here in San Diego maybe 5 years ago about kaparot. Not just that you do kaparot, don't do kaparot. There were poskim that held that kaparot as paganism, and there's some people that were like, I rolled a stone off of their heart. They always felt before Yom Kippur that they were doing the biggest averah by not slaughtering a chicken erev Yom Kippur. Listen, you want to be a Kabbalist? Fine, I didn't take it away. I'm not saying anything about Kabbalah. What I'm saying is, why didn't the people tell you that according to Maran, it's a stupid custom? According to the Rishonim, that's what he writes, Minhag Shtutu, it's a stupid custom. That's what Maran says about it. According to the Rishonim, some of them held it was a pagan custom. According to Arizal, it's the holiest custom that ever was. Okay, either way you go. But why didn't someone tell you already 30 years ago that this minhag is not necessary for you? Some people think it's a halakha, like kaparot, kippur, they must be connected to. Come on. But what can you do? Unfortunately, that's the way that it works. That's the way that people are. And we have to make sure. Minhagim are important. Minhagim are something that you want to preserve. The way that people live their life is important for us. On the other hand, it's not halakha Moshe Sinai. Hashem gave us the Torah. And imagine for one moment, if we didn't have any minhagim, and the Jewish people just followed halakha. Imagine how, I'm saying, Sfaradim follow Shulchan Aruch, Ashkenazim follow the Rama. Imagine how little the differences would be between us. Imagine how we could all sit. Imagine, you're welcome to come in. Imagine how we could all sit together and learn together. Imagine if there were no minhagim, what Am Yisrael would look like. It would be a different place. It would be a different world. That would be an opportunity. We don't have that opportunity. We have so many things that are separate in between us. And minhagim are important, but not that important. Chava, have a beautiful night, B'Ezras Hashem. And this is the end of the shiur. God willing, next week we'll go back into Shulchan Aruch. So make sure to bring that. Actually, how many weeks have Tisha B'Av? Next week and the following week?
Yeah.
Would you guys like to do the halachot of Tisha B'Av, or would you rather just stick to Shulchan Aruch that we do?
Well, the thing is, are we studying the book we have, or are we doing other chapters?
If we would be doing the laws of Tisha B'Av, it wouldn't be in the book we have, it would be in the Mishnah book.
No, but if we continue, are we gonna
Yeah,
follow
continue
along
the
in
book we have, yes.
So it's up to everybody.
Do you guys want, I could do either the, you want to do the laws of Tisha B'Av?
Yeah.
Does it interest you?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that next Monday, okay?